Well, you're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, doctors say we need to teach defensive walking as pedestrian injuries skyrocket in Joplin. Simple safety tips that could save your life on city streets.
Also, tsunami warnings and advisories stretch from Hawaii to the entire West Coast after an 8.8 earthquake rocks Russia.
And we've got another day of dangerous heat out there for us, and then relief starts building in this evening. And a look at your forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. Just after 7 a.m. on this Wednesday, July the 30th. August, of course, starts this Friday. It's going to be a better day for us on this Friday as well. We'll get to that in just a moment, but a lot of folks out walking with this heat, and even when it's not been too bad.
Right. And Mercy Hospital.
The weather and sidewalk improvements have made it easier for people to walk from place to place.
Oh, hello again. We're going to just toss it right over to Chris for a look at the forecast. He's over there right now in the Skywatch.
Yeah, we actually was going to take a moment here. Needed to throw something in for you all. So if you, every so often things just jump around. I don't jump around so much because it makes my ankles hurt. But you know what? I can't get it in here, so we're going to do it like this. Okay, so I want to take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker, and I'll show you why. We talked about some storms up north, barely just kind of pinching northern Bates County. I didn't want to leave those out, so a very quick thing to point out is this activity here. This is not real. This is not happening. This is just some radar clutter. But what is happening is these little storms from an outflow boundary. So now getting up around Deer Creek, just to the north of Butler. So if you're taking I-49 north up toward KC, could run into a few scattered shower storms between Deer Creek and Harrisonville. Again, just from this particular little line of storms out there. But again, nothing too significant. Now, as for the rest of the area, we're going to take a quick look outside from downtown Pittsburgh, and you can see we've got some clouds, and these clouds are courtesy of those storms that are off to our north at this point. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline. Now, it's of course looking south. So skies are clear to the south. Skies to the north, not so much, again, because of the storms that are up there. Also, as we were discussing at the beginning of the show, of course, that magnitude 8.8 earthquake on the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia yesterday. A number of aftershocks ranging from 4 upwards of 6. So we're talking this zone, so some moderate aftershocks taking place, has triggered some tsunami advisories for parts of Hawaii, Alaska, and then for our side on the lower 48, it's hard to see because they're just the coastal areas, but we have tsunami advisories from the Baja of California all the way up to the Canadian border. And we've also got some tsunami warnings in the far northwestern corner of California, so around the Crescent City area. Earlier this morning, we actually had tsunami warnings into Alaska and Hawaii as well, but those were dropped. And same here, this tsunami warning stretched all the way down just south of Eureka, California, but has been narrowed down. And so, of course, we'll keep an eye on the situation. We'll have some updates on you, but I'm sure a lot of folks waking up probably seeing a lot of posts about that earthquake and that tsunami potential. You're also probably seeing quite a bit of this. I'm really tired of seeing it, and I have some terrific news. Starting tomorrow, at least for a few days, you're not going to have to see it. Why? Because it's going to get better. But for today, parts of Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, heat advisories through 8. These were reissued, which was not really a big surprise, and they will run through 7 for the rest of southeast Kansas. Our heat index value still up to 110. Heat exhaustion is likely. Heat stroke is possible. Certainly a still potentially dangerous situation, so make sure you're staying hydrated, taking care of yourself out there. As we roll into the afternoon, pop-up storm chances as early as noon on Future Track. Remember, it's not telling us it's going to be right here at this time over Joplin at noon. It's just hinting that we could get some pop-up storms, and that they'll be fairly isolated initially, and then late this evening, cold front approaches. Starts bringing some scattered storms north of the US 54 corridor, and we'll go over those storm details with you a little later. 78 in Joplin, 76 in Pittsburgh. Another very warm start to the day, but tomorrow will not be this warm. Have some low 70s. Most of us, as you can see, mid-upper 70s out there. We're looking at cruising into the mid-80s by 9, mid-90s by noon. Highs today about 99 to 100. Pop-up storm chances out there. Heat index values to 110. Southwest winds 5 to 10. Thunderstorms, they start building in tonight. We're going to talk about those and what that will do to our temperatures here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Thanks. We're going to take a live look now at the Angels Cafe, a Crawford County Fair tradition that's been serving the community for 25 years. The cafe raises money for Angels Among Us, a nonprofit supporting local cancer patients. Doors open at 6:30 at the fairgrounds in Girard. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. An 8.8 magnitude earthquake hit off Russia's coast last night, one of the strongest quakes ever recorded and the highest magnitude since 2011. The earthquake triggered a tsunami in the northern Pacific and warnings and advisories in Alaska, Hawaii, and other coastal areas around the world. Jared Hill has more from New York.
On the island of Honolulu, a scramble to seek higher ground. Waves crashed on empty beaches as warnings echoed.
The roads are full, people trying to move. We ask you to stay calm, cooperate, and get to high ground.
We decided to go to elevated ground, and it's kind of just where it's taken us so far. We've passed a couple other gas stations that you can't even get in them.
Tsunami warnings and alerts were issued from Hawaii to the entire west coast of the U.S. after an 8.8 magnitude earthquake hit off Russia. Officials warned waves could reach up to 10 feet, prompting boats to head out to sea.
So far, we have not seen a wave of consequence, which is great relief to us.
Hours earlier, a tsunami more than a foot high was detected in over a dozen parts of Japan. Officials warned bigger waves are possible. Some people sought safety on the tops of buildings. The massive earthquake that triggered the waves shook furniture in far eastern Russia. Emergency responders rushed to a damaged kindergarten after the front of the building collapsed. No children were reportedly inside.
Now, so far, there are no reports of injuries from the earthquake. Strong aftershocks have also been recorded. Well, Joplin's SWAT team surrounded a residence on East Valley Street last night after obtaining a search warrant. Officers deployed gas into the home around 9:45 p.m. when the suspect surrendered through a back door with a towel over his head. No injuries were reported in the operation. Joplin Fire Department crews responded to Hill Street to ventilate the residence with fans following the operation. The arrest concludes the search for the suspect, who faces multiple felony charges. A Joplin man is dead after his motorcycle crashed through a T intersection in Newton County. A farmer discovered the 22-year-old's body and his BMW motorcycle in a field east of Aspen and Martin Roads yesterday morning. The crash happened a day and a half earlier when no one had heard from the victim since Sunday. The motorcycle traveled 150 feet into the field after crashing through the fence. Newton County Coroner Dale Owen pronounced the man dead at the scene. And authorities released a photograph of the person of interest in a double homicide at an Arkansas state park. Arkansas State Police released this image along with a composite sketch of the suspect. State police say the suspect is believed to be a white man of medium build who at the time was wearing dark pants, a long-sleeved shirt with sleeves rolled up, a baseball cap, sunglasses, and fingerless gloves. He is also believed to be driving a black four-door sedan. The description came from witnesses inside the park. Police in Arkansas are searching for the suspect in connection to the deaths of Clinton and Kristen Brink, a couple who investigators said were attacked while on a wooded walking trail with their two young daughters. The attack happened on Saturday. Authorities say the couple died protecting their child. All trails at Devil's Den State Park in Washington County, Arkansas have been closed as the investigation continues. The victims' bodies were sent to the Arkansas State Crime Lab to determine the official cause and manner of death. Anyone with information should contact the Arkansas State Police. And of course, to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. The Missouri Supreme Court rules counties cannot impose an additional sales tax on recreational marijuana within incorporated cities. KOAM's Lonnie Walton learned it could save Missouri taxpayers $3 million every month.
Maintain a cool, calm, and collected demeanor. So I need that throughout the day for sure.
San Antonio Davis is the regional manager of Green Relief Dispensary in Nevada. He said he's been a cannabis user for years. He says he couldn't imagine a world without him and others using it.
Access is going to be the biggest thing here in Missouri for all of us. So making sure that one, there's a place where you can go get it safely and that it's affordable for you.
That's what a case ruled on by the Missouri Supreme Court is all about. Attorney Eric Walter says previously, Missouris were being charged a voter-approved 3% sales tax on marijuana by cities, and that's fine. However, the cities weren't the only ones taxing buyers.
That meant that the tax rate was in the neighborhood of 17 or 18% overall, which is a lot. But then the counties were coming to those same dispensaries within incorporated areas and saying that you need to collect ours as well.
Walter says that's why he decided to fight for how government can levy taxes on marijuana for incorporated areas.
Yes, the Constitution does contemplate a local government definition that says it's either an incorporated city, town, or village that is local government and who gets to impose that tax, or it's a county, meaning the dispensary is situated in an unincorporated area. And so that's the key part, is where is the dispensary situated?
Walter says he hopes this law will help keep consumers law-abiding citizens.
At least we won't have consumers, I hope, or worry, I guess, leaving the industry and turning to illicit sources.
For Missourians specifically, it's going to be great for us because that's going to keep all of our dollars here in Missouri.
Reporting in Nevada, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
There are still questions about what will happen to the money already collected by counties and a timeline for when they must stop collecting. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, we'll hear what can be learned from this year's Beef, Cattle, and Forage Field Day. We'll be right back. Time now, 7:11. But first, here's a live look from the Crawford County Fairgrounds in Girard, Kansas. Welcome back. Well, if you are interested in foraging or raising cattle, consider attending the Beef, Cattle, and Foraging Field Day this August. We have Wendy Powell from the Kansas State Extension Office with us this morning to share more information on the event. Welcome to you, Wendy. Thank you so much for being with us. Happy to have you. So talk to me about the Beef, Cattle, and Forage Field Day.
Well, this is an annual event where livestock producers are invited to come out and just learn about the latest research that we've got going on from the Research Center. This year, we're actually going to focus on silage production that's been growing in our area. And we're going to talk about some tips and tricks on how to make it as nutritious as possible, as well as safely sampling that silage so we can actually see those quality results. And then we're also going to talk about virtual collars for our cattle.
Oh, wow.
So think like, you have the virtual fencing for your dog.
Sure.
So you don't have to have your fence for your dog to keep him in the lawn. The same concept. So it's actually more affordable than some folks might think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there'll be some research coming out on that.
Yes.
We'll be talking about that. So it's going to be a really nice day with a sponsored lunch from Lawlemond. We appreciate their support. So it'll be a really good opportunity for livestock producers to come out and learn some more information.
Absolutely. Now, you said this event has been going on for many years. What have you seen through past events that farmers, livestock producers really take away from it and how it can be beneficial for them?
Yeah, they really like to be able to visit with the specialists that are actually doing the work in our area. Our research center's right there in Parsons, so very southeast Kansas. It's very close to home, and then being able to visit with each other during lunchtime and on breaks and things like that. So not only is the information valuable, but just that camaraderie as well.
Absolutely. Now, it's happening August 12th. Talk to me about all the other details, when specifically, and where can folks come out?
Yeah, so registration is going to start at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And then we'll start the program at 9, and it goes through 2 o'clock. We've got lunch provided as well. So if folks are interested in more information, they can always call any of our extension offices. The Altamont phone number listed is there with the flyer as well.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Happy to have you. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 7:19 now on this Wednesday morning. We're starting with this, and okay, this actually just updated. So we've got some changes. We had this wind risk. It's an isolated risk. I want to emphasize it's a level 1 out of 5, but it is there. It was confined to our northeastern counties. It has been expanded. Again, this outlook for day 1 typically it's scheduled to update at 8 a.m. If it updates early, just means that they've got a pretty good idea as what's going to happen. So it has been expanded across the northern half of our area. So just take the 54 corridor right along that, points north. So that jives, though, with what we've been seeing on Future Track through the morning for the thunderstorm chances, which we're going to show you right now. Heading into the afternoon, we got a mix of things all taking place today. So that's what's going to make it a little more interesting in terms of keeping track of all the different things that are happening. First, starting as early as noon, we could start seeing some isolated pop-up storms, mainly east of 69. You see these little cloud spots here, and even this little shower up here in Coffee County. We could get some west of that point, but better chances are going to be to the east. They're going to be isolated initially as well before eventually we get that cold front pushing in, and as we do so, we're going to have that window after about 6-7 o'clock this evening for some of those strong to low-grade severe storms. So you can see we get this line right along the cold front about 8 o'clock or so, just north of the 54 corridor. So it's likely this activity right through here through the late evening hours tonight that could bring that potential for some strong to low-grade severe thunderstorms, which, as you just saw, damaging wind gusts would be the primary concern. So here we are at 10. We're getting an organized line into parts of Kansas. We'll have scattered storms ahead of it. And the reason we start getting some of these scattered storms is ahead of the front. It's going to draw in some moisture, some energy. It's going to bring in some strength for these storms. And what will happen, or an expectation, at least one possibility, let me put it that way, is some of the pop-up storms we get earlier in the evening may be able to tap into some of that energy that's being pulled north and expanding coverage. Now, our severe threat, as you saw, or the strong storm threat, is in the northern half, but we could get some other thunderstorms south of that point. First batch of storms tries to track east, makes it far east, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, maybe to the I-49 corridor before it dies out. Then we get new development because here's the boundary. Right here, that cold front, and it starts to trigger more storms after midnight that'll start into southeast Kansas, stretching to parts of northeastern Oklahoma, and those will slide east, but take a look at those as well. They also begin to fizzle out a bit or weaken as they approach the I-49 corridor, the Kansas-Missouri border, really. But then back behind it, by 5, another round of scattered showers and storms is expected to develop, and these ones will make it further east across the area. We're not, at this time, expecting severe weather with this activity, but as we just saw that change this morning, things can change. If they do, we will certainly let you know. But we have these thunderstorms that'll push through the area. They'll continue through the first half of our Thursday, gradually kind of shrinking in coverage as we head into the early afternoon. And I think by about 2-3 o'clock, we are done with thunderstorm chances for Thursday, and we'll have mostly cloudy skies. Today, again, our heat index values up to 110 will still be possible ahead of that front, which is why we have these heat advisories here and into Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma. They run through 8, and then the rest of southeast Kansas, they run through 7 this evening. And of course, KOAMNewsNow.com/forecast. You can find a number of our extreme heat safety tips. Off to the north, we have some clouds out there. We'll have just, again, mostly clear skies, and in some cases, just clear skies. Low 80s to start, low 90s by 11 o'clock this morning. Highs today about 99 to 100 out there. And then low 70s tonight, mid 80s tomorrow, almost 15 degrees cooler tomorrow than where we will be today. We'll have the low to mid 80s Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, seasonably hot, upper 80s, low 90s. So get out there, enjoy the weekend, because by the middle of next week, we could be looking at the return of that potentially dangerous heat. Let's check your forecast. We are back with more right after this.
Welcome back. Well, it's time for another Cars and Coffee, and this one is set to host a unique car show happening this weekend. We have Josh and Ashley Nager on with us this morning to share more details about the event. Good morning. Welcome to you both. Happy to have you. Talk to me about Cars and Coffee for those who might not know, and what makes this one so much different.
Yeah, so Cars and Coffee is kind of a nationwide event where cities will host different Cars and Coffees event, usually in the mornings on certain Saturdays. This time we're flipping the script because it's been so hot outside. We're going to try night edition. And so this weekend, Saturday night from 7 to 10 at Forest Park Baptist Church in Joplin, 7th and Highview, we're going to take over the parking lot. We have enough spots for over 200 cars. Wow. We're going to have 5 different food trucks, a live DJ. So just an incredible time to come hang out, see awesome cars we have in the community, and meet new people.
Absolutely. How has these Cars and Coffees in Joplin, how's the events been this summer? How's the turnout been, and what has it been like to really bring the community together?
So it's been a little bit hit or miss. We've had a lot of bad weather. Actually, we didn't think we'd have to be competing with crazy bad weather in June and July, but been a little bit hit or miss. So we're just trying to put something together that's a little bit different, invite more people, and again, just try maybe mornings might be hard for people, so come out in the evening time, come hang out, bring your kiddos. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And do people have to register to bring their cars, or can they just roll up?
Yeah, just roll up. We would ask that you try to be there about 7:30. That way as people start to trickle in, we're not trying to move cars around while everybody's looking around. We would like everybody to come and bring their car in off of 7th and Highview. Don't try to come in off of Range Line. We don't want to cause an accident or back traffic up or anything. So.
Absolutely. And if people want to find out more information about Cars and Coffee in Joplin, where can they do so?
Yeah, so we actually have a Facebook group online, Joplin Cars and Coffee. You can check us out there. We have all kinds of updates. We're posting about the event as well. And so just be sure to check it out. Enjoy
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. So happy to have you. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. I'm Elise Snowy. Well, a woman is recovering from a gunshot wound after an early morning shooting yesterday in Joplin. Around 5 a.m., emergency crews responded to a home on North Sargent Avenue. The woman was taken to a hospital with a gunshot wound that is considered not life-threatening. At last report, police said she was in stable condition. The initial investigation indicates a juvenile called 911. Police have the area taped off as they work to figure out what happened. Neighbors are asked to steer clear while the investigation continues. And prosecutors have charged a Southeast Kansas man with a child sex crime. He's 23-year-old Chance Watkins of Galena. According to court documents, Watkins messaged a 13-year-old Newton County girl through social media, then took her to a Joplin park where they engaged in sexual acts. Authorities have charged Watkins with kidnapping and enticing a minor. You can find a lot more information on this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. Let's take it over now to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've still got another day of dangerous heat across the area. We're taking first a live look downtown Pittsburgh. To the south, skies are relatively clear, but to the north we have some clouds, which I'll show you about. Talk about that in just a moment. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline also looking south, also looking at clear skies, plentiful sunshine. And again, we have been talking about it this morning, continue to get you updated. There was that 8.8 magnitude earthquake off the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia, generating a number of aftershocks in the 4 to 6 magnitude range out there. Also generating tsunami advisories for Alaska, Hawaii, and in terms of the lower 48, it looks like they've been trimmed back a bit now north of Los Angeles, but all the way still to the Canadian border, and we still have this narrow zone of tsunami warnings around the Crescent City area in far northwestern California up toward the Oregon border. So still keeping an eye on all of that. The good news is so far no major reports coming out of any of the stations out in the Pacific of any significant waves, and certainly, of course, for those folks in Crescent City, we hope it stays that way. All right, here's the Skywatch Storm Tracker, and what I wanted to show you is what we've got here. I have to remember which one of these buttons is the right button that does the, well, if it works. There it is. Okay, so we're going to take a closer look. All we've got this line of storms up there, and we had a few of those trying to work into parts of Bates County. But as you can see, what is there has gone ahead and just kind of fizzled out across there. But some of those tried to work in around Butler, points north, but right now we are drying out. But that's what's also generating the clouds that we're seeing off to the north across the area. Heat advisories, again, parts of Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas through 8 this evening. The rest of southeast Kansas, they'll run through 7 this evening. Our heat index value still up to 110, heat exhaustion likely, and heat stroke possible, so make sure you're taking care of yourself. All right, got pop-up storms as we roll into the afternoon hours. Better chances initially east of the 69 corridor, and then later this evening, as we get that cold front approaching, scattered storms north of 54 start working in. Some of those could be strong, low-grade severe, which we'll cover in just a moment as well. 78 in Joplin, 75 in Pittsburgh. Quick look at temperatures out there. Still a couple of low 70s. Sedan, man, looking pretty good, 71. The rest of us, though, upper 70s. We're going to be cruising into the mid-80s by 9, mid-90s by noon. Highs today, 99 to 100. Pop-up storms this afternoon, heat index values to 110. We're going to break down more on that cold front, what it's going to do for us, and our storm chances here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, during days and nights of extreme heat and humidity, some people need to take extra steps to protect their health, especially those who have diabetes. Nick Kelly has their story.
Brian Pascal is no stranger to the summer heat and humidity in the Ozarks. However, it's something he pays close attention to since he found out he had type 2 diabetes several years ago.
Some of their students was out there poking people's fingers to check their blood sugar, and well, mine was like 535, and it was like, I thought that guy was going to have a heart attack.
While he's able to manage his diabetes, the heat has caused his blood sugar to spike and drop numerous times.
My yard is 50 feet wide by 150 feet deep, and it takes me several attempts to get it mowed. The heat with the diabetes has definitely affected my longevity.
Not only can diabetes affect your blood sugar, Dr. Barbara Bunbury with Mercy says it can lead to another condition called diabetic neuropathy that can impact the nerves in our body.
It can affect other nerves of the body too, including the nerves that supply or innervate the sweat glands. And so that can affect the overall function of sweat glands, which can lead to a body or a person's body not being able to relieve that heat.
Even with diabetes, the rules for staying cool are the same. Stay hydrated with water and drinks with electrolytes. Take frequent breaks in the shade or air conditioning. Diabetics should consider what Brian does and carry a cooled emergency kit with test supplies and some food or drinks on standby.
That's a good thing for anybody that's diabetic that has had issues with low blood sugar to have something on hand, whether it's glucose tablets, peanut butter crackers, orange juice, something that they can take quickly if they start having a drop in their blood sugar.
As for Brian, he wants to remind everyone with diabetes and dealing with the heat to pay careful attention.
Keep monitoring your body and don't fluff things off. Don't think, I got to be a big macho and like this, but listen to your body.
Now, both Brian and Dr. Bunbury say if you need any help managing your diabetes in the heat, reach out to your doctor or call 911 if you worry you're having a medical emergency. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Music was her identity until disease stole her voice. Hear how a Phoenix woman who calls every day a gift. We'll be right back. Time now, 7:37. In Consumer Watch, it's an herbal stimulant regularly found in smoke shops and convenience stores, but federal health officials say it's an extremely dangerous opioid. Fox News correspondent Mark Meredith reports.
It's nicknamed legal morphine, and now the Food and Drug Administration wants the DEA, America's drug enforcement agency, to block a product known as Kratom 7-OH.
7-OH binds to the mu receptor, which means scientifically, by definition, it is an opioid.
Kratom comes from a plant, and in its natural state is about as strong as a light beer. But when concentrated into the 7-OH compound byproduct, experts say it's much more potent and ripe for abuse. Health officials say products with Kratom 7-OH are already easy to find, available in many smoke shops and gas stations, and often marketed as a pain reliever and mood booster.
Ice cream cones. Here's one drink with 7-OH in it.
They're gummy bears. They're bright colors. They're candy flavored.
Over the years, vendors of Kratom say the product works and the dangers are overstated.
Pain relief or getting off of opiate addiction, even have customers that have used it to move away from antidepressants.
Others say it's not worth the risk. John Harden says his wife took Kratom while recovering from surgery and blames it for her death.
She actually might have thought it was an alternative to get off of that other stuff.
That's why they're going after the companies selling it, saying it's important to get out ahead of a problem to prevent a potential new wave of an opioid epidemic.
We need to be proactive so we don't get caught blindsided again.
And it's not just the federal government cracking down. At least 24 states are now regulating the sale of Kratom. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News at 7:43 on this Wednesday morning. All right, some changes that we talked about this morning from just at 7 to now is we've had the wind risk area expanded from west to east across the region, really right along the Highway 54 corridor and points north. And honestly, when we look at future track, that kind of jives with what we're looking at in terms of initial storm placement as the cold front approaches. So this is a level 1 out of 5 risk. So it's a low risk, but it's there, and we could get some stronger storms with maybe some gusty winds as we head into the late evening hours. So what are we looking at? We're looking at a whole host of things happening. First, dangerous heat. But with the heat, the humidity, that's going to trigger pop-up storms again. So as early as noon, we could start seeing them. Better chances, even though they're low, there's still better chances east of 69 initially, but you see these little cloud formations out here, and you even see that guy up in Coffee County. We could get them anywhere. That's the nature of pop-up storms, but Future Track thinks better chances are going to be east of 69. It'll stay that way initially into the early evening hours, and then about 6, 7 o'clock, that cold front starts to approach. Here comes our thunderstorm chances. So some of these could be strong to low-grade severe with those gusty winds. Then, because the cold front's approaching, it's drawing in more moist air ahead of it to it's going to feed these storms a bit. And that will also potentially, I want to emphasize that too, potentially feed the pop-up storms that we get in the evening. So some of them could try and organize into thunderstorms, larger thunderstorms, not necessarily severe storms, but thunderstorms that'll be a little bigger and a little more long-lived than the typical pop-up storm. We'll get a few more of these scattered storms ahead of the front. By 8, that front is right north of 54, so some of these storms, again, initially could be strong to low-grade severe with gusty winds is the primary concern here. Ahead of the front, scattered storms out there, and then with the front, that line of storms, because you can see it right along the boundary here. You see that wind shift line. That's where we'll get those storms by 10. We go into 2 o'clock in the morning. Still similar to yesterday, the first round of storms along the front advances ahead of the front, excuse me, so it begins to die out. Then we get new storms right along the front by about, say, 1 o'clock in the morning, starting into southeast Kansas, stretching down, eventually into parts of northeastern Oklahoma. That activity pushes east, but again, it's also ahead of the front, so it begins to kind of fizzle out a bit just with scattered showers and storms, then heavier showers and storms, again, not necessarily severe, just some heavier rain starts to redevelop behind the front again towards sunrise on Thursday. Goodness gracious, I don't know what that is. All right, so by 9 o'clock, still scattered storms out there, some heavier rain south of I-44, new storms possibly developing again back behind all of this into southeast Kansas. So through the first half of our day, we'll have some scattered storms. As we go later into the morning, early afternoon, they start to reduce in their coverage, and then eventually they'll fizzle out, and we'll just have mostly cloudy skies tomorrow and much cooler air. So today, again, heat index values 105 to 110, and then big improvements tomorrow. But today, still heat advisories, Kansas, Missouri, parts of Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas through 8, and then the rest of southeast Kansas until 7 this evening. And again, our extreme heat safety tips are on our website on the forecast page. All right, clouds to our north thanks to some storms up there, not many of them. Low 80s by 8, low 90s by 11 o'clock this morning. Our highs today, 99, 100 degrees, easy, very uncomfortable. Then the storms start building in. Look at our low 70s tonight. Take a look at that, though. For tomorrow, we're about 15 some odd degrees cooler tomorrow for our highs than what we're expecting today and really what we've seen here lately. Scattered storms, then they'll wrap up. Mostly cloudy Friday, low 80s as we go into Friday and Saturday. Seasonably hot Sunday and Mondays. You can see upper 80s, low 90s. More pop-up storms next week, and temperatures in the second half of next week, unfortunately, could see the return of the dangerous heat. So enjoy the weekend because it will not last. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
A woman in Phoenix gets back her voice thanks to a transplant.
Steve Nielsen has the story of a wife, mom, and singer.
Ashes, ashes, we fall down. It's hard to comprehend just how beautiful this sound is. Hallelujah. It affected Paul the first time he heard Alexandra's voice at church.
Sitting next to her and hearing her sing and hearing, just the beautiful tone, the strength of her voice is wonderful. It's not something I had expected to be so enthralled by, so that was wonderful.
That's sweet. But that voice was taken away. All will be made new. The The NAU alum was diagnosed with something called scleroderma a decade ago.
I had this cough that was really persistent and kind of like nasal congestion and things that just wouldn't go away.
While she was pregnant with her second kid, it advanced to inflammation and a buildup of scar tissue in the lungs.
Music has always been my identity. I really have been Allie, the singer. That's been who I am. So having that slowly stripped away was tricky.
After giving birth, she went to Norton Thoracic Institute at Dignity Health. She could barely speak.
Alex was flown into us very sick on a lot of oxygen support and a lot of support to help with her heart, because the heart was seeing the pressures from her lungs and her disease taking a toll on it.
She was put on the lung transplant list and received a double lung transplant just 3 days later.
Not the easiest surgery, not the easiest post-operative course, and to see her come a long way to what she is right now, being back to her life, her little kids, and being able to sing again, I think it's like a full circle.
It completely changed my life. I'm here and I'm able to raise my 2 children, be with my family, and move forward.
She spends a lot of time now on the phone with doctors figuring out her medications. In her mind, just a small problem to make sure she can sing her kids' lullabies at night again.
Good night, sleep tight, and pleasant dreams. To have another Christmas with my family is something that I really look forward to. And every day is a gift. It's changed my life.
Very impressive.
Yes.
Indeed. Double lung transplant. I mean, it goes into, just people naturally are going to start living longer as medical science advances. So.
Really, it'll be really interesting. Yeah.
Certainly so. And we do have the threat for maybe a couple of strong storms late this evening. Quick look at that for you. Any storms we see that do get a little stronger, gusty winds or damaging wind gusts will be the primary concern. We're not looking at a significant or widespread risk, but it's a possibility. So heading into the afternoon, initially just some isolated pop-up storms out there. It won't be until later this evening, after about 6 or so, when the cold front begins to approach, that we're going to start to see scattered storms up north of 54 by 8. And as we go later through the evening, we get a line. And again, initially, some of these could be strong, low-grade, severe. Scattered storms out ahead of that. First line begins to fizzle out overnight. And then about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, new storms develop. Those will fizzle out. More storms behind that. And we'll just kind of deal with scattered storms for the first half of our Thursday. As we head into the early afternoon, rain clears out, skies stay cloudy, temperatures drop. We're going to have another look at your forecast and your wake-up recap right after this.
This is your wake-up recap for July 30th. The top stories to start your day. Well, Joplin Police SWAT team successfully apprehended a suspect last night on East Valley Street. Around 9:45 p.m., officers deployed gas, leading to the suspect's surrender through a back door. No injuries were reported. Joplin Fire Department crews ventilated the residence afterwards. The suspect now faces multiple felony charges. A 22-year-old Joplin man has died after his motorcycle crashed through a T intersection in Newton County. His body and BMW motorcycle were found yesterday morning in a field east of Aspen and Martin Roads. The crash occurred a day and a half earlier on Sunday. The motorcycle traveled 150 feet into the field. Newton County Coroner Dale Owen pronounced him dead at the scene. And a woman is recovering after being shot yesterday morning in Joplin. Around 5 a.m., emergency crews responded to a home on North Sargent Avenue. The woman, now in stable condition, was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. Residents are urged to avoid the vicinity as authorities continue their work. And that's a check of today's Wake Up Recap.
And we've got another dangerously hot day. Highs 99 to 100 degrees. Heat index values to 110. But our heat advisories will wrap up this evening as we get pop-up storms initially this afternoon and early evening. Scattered storms with an approaching cold front late this evening and overnight. And some of the initial storms along the 54 corridor could be strong, low-grade, severe, with some gusty winds as the primary concern. A few scattered storms for the first half of our day tomorrow, but our highs, take a look at that, almost 15 degrees cooler across the area. Cool weather, or well, warm but cooler weather continues Friday, Saturday, seasonably hot Sunday and Monday. Unfortunately, by next week, the dangerous heat could return. So get out there, enjoy this weekend because it will not last.
Right, absolutely. Well, Joplin Bookstore is hoping to encourage the next generation of readers by supporting teachers. Always Buying Books traditionally holds a back-to-school sale on 3 weekends in August after offering a 50% sale on children and teen books.
Now this year, the store is holding an Adopt a Teacher program with hopes to raise at least $2,000 to help reduce prices even more for teachers. And of course, Bob Wolf talking about the fact that, and it's true, a lot of teachers buy supplies, they buy things for their students, for their classrooms out of their own pocket. And they don't make a lot of money as it is. So it's great to get out there. And if you can support them, make sure you do. Well, thanks for joining us this morning. We're going to be back today at noon with more news and weather.
Have a great rest of your morning.